So API testing. Cypress is a great tool for API testing. Let me show you what I mean. I have a test in here that's called API. So I'm going to open that in my VS Code, and I will open that in my Cypress as well. So I have this nice little sidebar here where I can look at all of the specs that I have in my repository. And let's run the API. All right. So in here, I'm using this cy request command, which is going to trigger an HTTP request. So as you can see, we are triggering the post a method to a URL of API boards. And here's the body, the thing we are sending towards the server. So in our Trello app, we have these boards, which I'm creating in here. And I have a very simple but very compact API test. So I'm checking out whether the status that's going to be received back from the server is equal to 201. So it's very nice, very readable, and you can sort of build a whole API testing suite on that. So the only thing that's kind of doesn't sit too well is that we have this whole blank area over here, which is not really used when we are doing pure API testing. So this is where, again, Cypress kind of shines, because Cypress is open source. And with that, it is really opened to the community and to the contributions of the community. And you can expand lots of functionality with plugins. You may have heard that Cypress doesn't support some areas of testing. Well, with the community around Cypress, many people are contributing to solving different kinds of problems. It would be kind of hard for Cypress team to focus on every area and every application there is, but the community can help with that and help out. So, for example, the API testing, I have also contributed and have created my own plugin. Maybe I can find it over here, npm.js. npmjs.com, I believe it is. Yeah, and it's called Cypress Plugin API. Let me search for that. Hey, here it is. So this plugin actually helps you with your API testing. The punchline of this one is imagine Postman, but in Cypress. So what I'm doing with my plugin over here is that I'm using this empty space and showing you and I show you the response, request, and all the details about the HTTP call. So what I'm adding here is I'm adding a new command to the Cypress library. So we saw cy_get, cy_click, cy_type, cy_request, and now with my plugin, I'm adding cy_API. When I use that, it works exactly the same as the request, but it adds a little bit of extra stuff in here. So you can see the method and the URL, the body that has been sent. Plus, you can check out the response, headers, cookies, etc. Basically, all the information that's in there. Plus, it gives you some nice styling in the timeline. So be sure to check that out if you're interested in API testing. So we have UI testing, we have API testing. So what we can actually do is we can combine these two. The really cool thing about using HTTP requests in Cypress is that it's not triggering the API calls from the browser, but it will do it from the node environment. What this means is that that you are not going to run into like very complicated coarse cross-origin issues, and you can access any API you want. So what that enables you to do is to, for example, do email testing. So let's see. Let me show you what I mean. All right, so this test kind of went pretty fast, but let me walk you through that. So in here, I'm visiting a sign up page. On that sign up page, I have this nice little checkbox in here where it says send me a welcome email. So if you tick off this checkbox as you do a sign up on my application, it will send you a real email to your inbox. Now, how would you test an email? Um, if you have ever tried to access Gmail through some automation tool, you know that those guys at Google have things figured out, and they don't really like robots entering their page, and they have lots of security measures in order for that to not happen. So to help us out, we have these different services that are quite helpful. Maybe you heard of Mailsar or SendGrid. I believe there's a service like that. Basically, it creates a inbox which is accessible through API. So the service I'm using in here is called Test Mail. The reason I chose this one is that it's I think it's free, or it's free up to a quite a generous limit. So that's why I chose this one. Uh, but what I'm doing is I'm calling CY request to that service. I have some API key, etc. And what I'm doing here is I'm checking the inbox whether the email has arrived. And when it arrives, I'm checking its contents. So I'm looking to the body emails and I'm looking at the subject of the email and testing whether the subject of the email that was sent through this application is the correct one. So if I go ahead and run my test again, fill out the form, check the checkbox, you probably didn't even see because it's so fast. And when I signed up, I sent this request and was waiting for the email to arrive. And then when it arrived, I checked the subject of that email. So yeah, this is like a great combination of using UI and using API to create a really nice end-to-end test and to basically test the whole flow without going, to like third-party service or trying to hack Gmail into showing your emails or something like that. So yeah, that's really cool. So yeah, so Cypress is really the CY request command is really powerful. But you probably notice, actually, I have pointed this out, that you can see this API calls in as we are interacting with the application, and Cypress is really like watching for those, and it is a great area of testing as well.